Alright, so as you all know, the Pixel 6a just launched and pretty much everyone is covering it. But yeah, I think it's also a really good time to look back at the Pixel 6 from last year, just because personally I feel that this is a much better value than the Pixel 6a. So if you're someone who's actually planning to get the Pixel 6a, I suggest just kind of like, taking a step back and thinking about it again, just because this device right here has been out for close to a year right now, and it's obviously gone through some price cuts in some regions, and occasionally you're going to be seeing this on discount as well. And I think just for the price difference of $100 to $150 depending on where you live, this is a much better value. Without further delay, I'm just going to go ahead and let you know what you're going to get for $100 to $150 more than the Pixel 6a. So first off, probably the biggest thing is you're getting a better display with this. You're getting a 90Hz HDR 10 plus display as opposed to the standard 60Hz panel on the Pixel 6a. You're also getting a significantly better main camera, which this one over here is a 50 megapixel main camera as opposed to the 12 megapixel main camera used on the Pixel 6a, which was also used on the Pixel 5, 4, 3 and 2. So that's a significant camera upgrade. Next up, you're also getting a slightly bigger battery on the Pixel 6a, about 200 milliamps more. And you're also getting wireless charging and reverse wireless charging on this, both of which you do not get on the cheaper 6a. You're also getting much better, I guess, durability and protection overall, because with the 6 you do get Gorilla Glass Victus as opposed to Gorilla Glass 3 on the Pixel 6a. And you're also getting slightly better ingress protection, IP68 over here as opposed to IP67 on the 6a. So with all of that factored in, I think for just $100 to $150 more, I think it's well worth getting the 6 over the 6a. But okay, that aside, comparison with the 6a aside, I know a lot of people are going to be saying that the 6a is going to be geared towards more like mainstream consumers or like average customers. But even then, you have to like kind of think about it this way, where it's like when it comes to average consumers and like mainstream customers and stuff, they're more likely going to keep their phone for a longer period of time than people like us. Most of them, like most of the people I personally know, like family and friends, keep their smartphones for like 4 or 5 years. And I think that if you're going to keep your device for like that long of a period, like 4 or 5 years, I think it's well worth spending the extra $100 to $150 on the Pixel 6 as opposed to the 6a, just because it's gonna age a lot better. Like obviously with the tensor chip, like right now I feel like it's snappy enough, but obviously like with any other processor, in a few years it's gonna start showing its age. And when you have a higher refresh rate display like the 90Hz display over here, it's gonna kind of like lessen the burn of that. It's still gonna feel like somewhat smooth as opposed to having a 60Hz panel and an aging chipset. And of course the camera over here, a 50 megapixel camera, I honestly think it's still gonna do really well like 2 to 3 years from now on. And I'm not sure I can say the same for the 12 megapixel sensor on the 6a. That's pretty much my rationale for it. Like, for mainstream consumers who are going to keep their devices for a longer period of time, I think it's well worth just spending the extra $100 to $150 for the Pixel 6 as opposed to getting the cheaper 6a. You live in North America, I guess the Pixel 6a is a somewhat decent deal, just because there's really not much options in North America. Like it's a really crappy market, to be honest. But if you're living somewhere else, if you live in Asia, you live in Europe, Middle East, Africa, you have way better options than that. Like for example, if you live in India, for what I've known, the Pixel 6a costs significantly higher than other like mid-range devices. And I don't think it's really a good deal. Like, although there are some offers where I think if you use a certain bank card and do a trade-in, you do get like about 6,000 rupees off. But even then, I feel like that's too much of a hassle, and honestly I think you might as well just import a Pixel 6 or just go for another device that's readily available in the Indian market. There's plenty of really good mid-ranges. Even the Nothing Phone 1 seems like a better deal than the Pixel 6a in my opinion. Or you can just again spend a bit more, get the Pixel 6 imported, or you can get something like just give me a second. Or you can spend a bit more and get something like the Realme GT2 Pro, which is an excellent flagship. It's really value for money. And I think like either of these devices is a way better deal than the 6A just for like $100 to $150 more. That aside, comparisons aside, talking about the Pixel 6 again, I think this is a really good device. I think it's aged pretty well. Obviously upon release there were a lot of controversies regarding it. The Tensor chip kind of like not performing as well as people had hoped. Issues with how the charging wasn't actually 30-watt charging, and there was also issues with software in general, a lot of bugs and stuff. But I think with all the software updates that the Pixel 6 have received, it's been honestly really kind of ironed out right now. I don't think I encountered any significant bugs or errors ever since, I would say, the January or February update. It's been relatively smooth since then. And even the fingerprint scanner, which, yes, it's not as fast as some other Android devices out there. The fingerprint scanner has slightly improved, and I think it's usable. It's not the fastest, but it's not the worst either. I think it's still decent, and it works well enough for me. And overall, I think it's a really refined device at this point in time. So with it being close to a year old, again, it's gonna get some discounts here and there, some price cuts here and there. And the difference between this and the Pixel 6A is again just $100 to $150 more. So if you're considering on getting the Pixel 6A, I really suggest just kind of thinking it over again, just asking yourself that in 2 years from now, are you going to be happy with that decision, owning a Pixel 6A with a 60Hz panel, a 12 megapixel camera, 2 years from now? Or maybe you should just spend the extra $100 to $150, get something like this instead. But yeah, that's pretty much this video. It's kind of just my 2 cents on it, the whole Pixel 6A thing. I still think that if you're someone who lives in Asia, Europe, and anywhere else except North America, you have way better options. And even if you're living in North America, I think spending the extra $100 to $150 on this just so that your device ages better, I think it's going to be a decision that's well worth it. So yeah, do let me know in the comments what you guys think about all of this. Personally, like I've said, I think this is a much better deal for just $100 and $150 more than the Pixel 6A. So yeah, that's it. Do leave in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.